Okay, let's talk about this offense. Now, before we get started, look, we all know the news. I don't know who's going to be playing on the offensive side of the ball. It looked like it might be Baker Mayfield and a bunch of musical chairs. For all I know, so this conversation does not pertain to what's going to happen this week versus the Raiders. I don't know what's going to happen this week. It's not really important for the rest of this stretch run what happens this week. I don't think what happens this week is going to be reflective of what happens for the rest of the year, unless Baker Mayfield goes out there and throws for 600 yards, 5 touchdowns with absolutely nobody around him. It's really not going to be that relevant to the conversation, because if the take that you're bringing to the table at this point in 2021 is Baker Mayfield can't carry his team to victory, then my man, you're 3 months late on that take. That take was real hot 3 months ago. Right now, it's it brings nothing to the table. So we ain't gonna learn nothing new with what happens this week unless we learn something new, which would be good news, and then we don't have to do videos like this anymore, right? If Baker just turns into somebody else. But more than likely, that's probably not gonna happen. But we do need to talk about this offense as a whole, right? Because I don't think enough of us, and I don't think this team has accepted that this offense sucks. Now, I think we have accepted that this offense is not playing well, or that there's something wrong with this offense. I mean, it's undeniable with the lack of points that they put up. But I don't think we've yet just accepted the fact that this offense stinks and that it's not going to drastically get that much better anytime soon. And instead of talking about fixing this offense like I have for the previous weeks, we need to talk about salvaging this offense. What can we salvage out of what we have? Because this offense, quite frankly and unapologetically, stinks. Whatever you think is behind the stink, irrelevant. What we know about this team this year is that the offense just stinks, right? That's it. That's 100% the truth. This offense has stunk this year, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But there are still things you could do when you have an offense that stinks to make that stink less stinky. Now, before I get into any of these suggestions that will salvage this offense, there are a couple of things that I'm just going to take off the table at the beginning of this video so I can address it before, somebody says it, because these are the takes that people come up with that are very popular on the internet and, on my comment section and everything else. So I just want to make sure I take time to thoroughly address what I know is going to come up. One, no, AVP is not getting play calling. That's not going to fix this offense. It's not going to change anything. Now, Quincy, how can you say that? How can you be so confident in saying that Alex Van Pelt is going to do nothing for this offense? When I saw Alex Van Pelt call plays against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card, I felt like he was doing all the things that I wanted him to do and that Kevin Stefanski doesn't. Okay, cool. If that's the take I hear a lot, right? That Alex Van Pelt's going to fix the play calling, and people know this is going to be the case because of what happened in that wild card game. But I ask you, person who says that, do you actually remember what happened in that wild card game? Because it wasn't anything different than what happened in the Titans game, what happened whenever the Browns get a big lead, which is the Browns got a massive lead in the first quarter. They got a massive lead by the end of the second half. And then in the third quarter, they started to give up that lead and the offense stalled out. They did that thing where the defense goes conservative. They don't want to give up any big plays, so they get diced up and down the field. And the offense did that thing where they go 3 and out all the time because they're just calling all these conservative plays. And then by sheer chance, they call another conservative play, which is a slip screen to Nick Chubb on a second or third down. And then Nick Chubb just scores on it, and that puts the game away, and that ends the game. That was not an example of anything different than what Kevin Stefanski is doing, has done, and what the problem is with this offense, which is when they do get a lead, the play calling goes out of whack. Now, I think this year, the giving up of leads has more to do with the offense just not being good than it does with the play calling, quite frankly. But, that's why I'm not big on Alex Van Pelt getting the play calling, right? Because he got the play calling last year, and the exact thing that y'all want to change the play calling for happened when he was calling the plays against Pittsburgh. So why would I think that anything would be different under Alex Van Pelt? And quite frankly, if you look at what the offensive coordinator's responsibility is supposed to be on a team, this offense ain't been good at those things, right? Play design, personnel packages. These are things that we've been complaining about. These are Alex Van Pelt's responsibilities. If you think that most what the general offensive coordinator responsibilities are, and you attribute that to Alex Van Pelt. Some people think that he's not doing anything. I highly disagree with that take. But that's why I'm not going to suggest that Alex Van Pelt gets a play calling, because I just simply don't think there's any evidence to suggest that he's going to be any better at it with one game of experience of play calling than Kevin Stefanski is with 2 years of experience, whether you think Kevin Stefanski is a terrible play caller or not. The other thing I'm not going to assume is that Baker Mayfield's going to turn this magical corner and just be elite, right? Like, I just don't think that's safe to assume. If you think it's going to happen, good on you. Hey, hope you're right. But as far as a productive conversation about this offense goes, I can't assume that because he's been bad for like 14 weeks. So, no, can't assume that. So, now that we are talking about the Browns and their bad offense, like their objectively bad offense, how do you salvage this? What do you do when you have an offense that is poo? What do you do in those situations? Well, you do two things. You play trestle ball and you load up the bag of trick plays. Like, you got to put all them trick plays in. The Browns are not at a point to where, hey, what can we do offensively to make adjustments to get this machine going? That's not where they're at offensively anymore. That machine ain't turning on. So if the machine ain't turning on, what can the Browns do this year to manufacture offensive production, right? The machine ain't turning on. We need to manually manufacture this offensive production. Like, we need to cherish every time this team gets to the red zone, and when they do, we really, 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 really need them to score touchdowns, because we're not going to be in the red zone that often. Like, this is a team, this is how this team has to play. They have to play with an inordinate amount of defensive support. This defense, unfortunately, they're going to have to play with the burden of knowing that the offense probably not putting up more than 30 points, so you have to keep these guys down. Like, this is what this is right now. The Browns have a bad offense. It's not changing anytime soon, so you have to change that. Now, why go high risk, right? The trick plays. Well, again, you have to manufacture yardage. If your quarterback and your quarterback play or your wide receiver play, again, I'm not getting into specifics on who we're blaming in the passing game, but we can all agree that the passing game has been awful pretty much all year, right? So regardless of whoever you think the problem is going to be there on Sunday, Saturday, Monday, whenever the Browns play. So if that's the case, and if your passing game is incapable of loosening up the box, right, getting 8 or 9 people out the box, how can you get people out the box? You can be tricky as all hell, right? I don't care if the Browns decide that they're just going to start running triple option plays, because quite frankly, that would help, right? Like, if the Browns decided that they wanted to run some triple option plays, I am not 100% convinced that would not work. Why? Because at least it would add a level of deception there that is not there right now, right? The Browns are playing as if they have a good offense. It's just not working right now, right? Where the defense knows what's coming, but we're just going to out-execute you. Well, we haven't out-executed a single soul this year on the offensive side of the ball, so it's time to give up on them concepts. We need to fight unfair. We need to grab, scratch, and claw on offense. We need to trip some folks up, and when you do that, you got to go to the trick plays. We have to go to more deception. We need to run out all kind of funky formations, right? Remember when Hugh Jackson was here and he had nobody on offense, and he would just try to manufacture stuff? We need to do that, but hopefully at a higher level. Now, again, the question of whether the Browns are capable of this from a coaching standpoint and capable of executing this from a player standpoint, I don't know. But you got to take the chance at some point, and they're at the point to where they've been bad enough to where they just got to start throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. We need to put like 3 running backs out there. Take Baker Mayfield off the field for a play and have Jarvis Landry there with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb and then Dearness Johnson next to him and just legitimately run some triple option packages. Like, that's where we're at with this offense. We need to manufacture plays. And when we're not doing the trick plays and just trying to manufacture a way to get chunks down the field, we need to just be playing bully ball. Now, the Browns have not been playing bully ball. They've been running the ball a lot. They've been, having a lot of conservative play calling, but it's not bully ball. Bully ball is, I'm going to run up the middle all game and just go in your chest until you get tired of it. The Browns have been trying to do counter outs. They've been trying to get pretty with the run game. Nah, man, we need to just get back to basics and go to ugly, right? If Nick Chubb don't want to one cut up the field, put Kareem Hunt in there. If Kareem Hunt ain't there, Dearness Johnson. Somebody got to go up the field. One cut. Let's not do these plays where Nick Chubb has to stretch a play out all the way to the right side and then see if somebody's going to come around and pull. No more, none of that. We need to just straightforward. No pulls, no nothing, just straightforward push. Just play some ugly football. Every once in a while, some very basic play actions off of that, but we need to play some very, very ugly football. Like, the Browns offense is at a point to where what I think you could do to salvage this is put the donut on, right? Just play mud ball. It ain't going to be pretty. It's not going to be anything that wins anybody praise or awards, but you might be able to put up 17, 20 points without help from your defense. And if you could do that, you'll be fine. So that's kind of where I'm at with this Browns offense, right? I have accepted the fact that at least for this year, they're going to be bad. Now, we're going to learn a lot about internally what they felt like was wrong with this team by how they attacked the offseason and how they attacked the draft. But until that happens, right, until we can actually address these issues with this team and the coaching staff or whatever the problem is internally with the Cleveland Browns offense, we have to talk about salvaging instead of fixing. And salvaging means we're going to have to do some trick plays. We're going to have to play like our offense is absolutely sorry. We have to just erase the names that are on the back and in front of the jerseys, because when we look at it, right, we see Nick Chubb, we see Kareem Hunt, we see Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield might do something for some of us. Like, we see all these names, David Njoku. So we still think that this offense can blossom and be great. But that's just not the case. For all intended purposes for this conversation, you might as well assume that all those names are just regular dudes, because that's what the Browns have right now, or at least that's what everybody on our offense is playing like. Regular dudes. Like, nobody has been stepping up outside that level. Maybe Nick Chubb at certain points of this year, Kareem Hunt at certain points of this year, but Nick Chubb of the last 2 games been looking like a regular dude, unfortunately. Like, everybody on this offense has looked like a regular dude. You have a regular dude offense. So when you have a regular dude offense, you gotta trick it up. You gotta do some trick plays. And then when you're not doing the trick plays, you gotta play clock ball. Like, it's gonna be ugly, short chunk football, very painstaking, screen heavy, very boring offensive football. But it's the kind of football that can dominate time of possession and dominate the clock, and maybe not the scoreboard, but, it can be enough to win, right? They have to play turnover free and do all of those things. But that's really where I'm at with this offense. I'm curious to know where you guys are with this offense. Do you think that this offense can still be fixed and turned into its original 2020 state? Or are you like me and just accepting that this offense is going to be sorry for the rest of the year, and you just kind of want to salvage what's there so you can get out this season with the best possible result? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.